we're good to get rolling. When I start, just as we get started, I thought, man, that was wild. That was so much fun. And what I love about the team is that, we're never out of the fight. And all week we had talked about the ball would decide the game. Chicago had a fantastic track record of taking the ball away and being very successful doing that after they've created, a turnover margin. So for us not to turn the ball over, that was a big deal. And we thought we'd have to knock one out. And the goal line fumble turned out to be the second biggest play of the game. But to get into the plus, that was a big one until the last play. And what I learned tonight, I don't know if I learned it tonight, but I wanted to acknowledge in that locker room is a group of really tough people that genuinely care about one another and play and coach for one another. And that's a hard thing to assemble. And it's not easy, and it takes work, and you got to go through tough nights like tonight, which at times was very frustrating. And but to see this group stick together and know that, man, we're never out of it, and that's a really big deal. So I wanted to acknowledge that as we get started. So now I'm ready for your questions.
Dan, a bunch of players said you guys practiced the Hail Mary. How close was that to perfection of that play, and kind of how much time do you guys put into practicing that?
Yeah, I thought the plays also leading up to it were a really big deal, because when you're in that spot, you don't have timeouts, and we used one early, obviously, to get out of bounds, to give yourself a chance at the next play. And I thought the real factor was there of Zach Ertz, going up to get a tip, to keep the ball alive for Noah to get there, because it's hard just to go up and snatch it. So you almost have to go up and expect a bounce or a tip to go. And I thought Jayden did a fantastic job of, buying time over to the right side. To the left side. I don't know how long the play was. Maybe you guys might, but it took a long-ass time. 13 seconds, yeah. I felt every bit of them.
So with that being said, Dan, I know in previous press conferences you've mentioned with Jayden out there, you'll still have a chance. So in that last play, were you thinking there was still a chance, or were you just kind of like, what, whatever happens, happens?
I thought we'd had a chance to get, if we could get up the field some. And so that's what I was trying to get to. Could we get into field goal range if we could get a big chunk and get a timeout and then get a must out of bounds? So that's what I was hoping that we would accomplish into that spot. And then when it turns into Hail Mary time, literally what it's named after.
And my second question is, great, team win, but it did take the offense a bit to get going. I know it's just right after the game. You haven't had an opportunity to look at the film, but just some initial thoughts of what you think went there to get them not going.
Yeah, it was a frustrating game because there was plays to be made, and so a penalty might have knocked us out, or maybe a drop here and there. So I thought the execution felt off from what we're accustomed to. But I would say also some of that we have to give credit to Chicago's defense. They're a tough and rugged group as well. And at the end, those are things that we'll clean up to fix. But it wasn't what we'd hoped we would do. Like yards can be sometimes deceiving. I thought we missed some opportunities out there tonight. And that's when frustration can set in. I just wanted to make sure on the sideline, it's the next one, the next series to go that can make the difference.
Coach, have you been in part of a game like this before?
That was my first Hail Mary touchdown score. So, no, I've been on plenty where we threw them, but that was my first connection with them. So, I was out of my mind. It was fun.
And then final thing is, just to get a win like this, obviously it shows that you can win at any time. What does this do, though? I mean, that was a good football team that you guys beat tonight. So what does this do for this team going forward as far as confidence?
Well, I think, number one, going into it, we just really think in smaller terms of what we can do. And I wanted to see, could we find a next gear? And we missed on some tonight, but I thought defensively, third down was a really big step in the right direction tonight. They've got some fantastic players, as part of their offense. And so to have a winning performance on third down, which has been a problem that we've worked through, that was a really big deal for the defense. So those are some things we learned. But at the end of it, it takes everybody. It's a punt by Tress to put him down. It's Jeremy McNichol recovering a fumble on the punt. And those are all these moments that add up to giving yourself a chance to go win it.
And at the end of the first half, you had an opportunity potentially for a Hail Mary. You guys decided to just hand the ball off and go into the half. Can you talk us through why you chose to do that? And then obviously at the end of the game, you don't have a choice and make a different decision.
Yeah, I thought Probably in my mind, I just didn't want to get contact, and a big hit that could happen from that space. So I wanted to give us a chance in a 2-minute at the end of the half. It's something that offensively we've been good at. And so we've had a few opportunities like that over the last 3 weeks. So I thought, let's give us a chance. But I didn't want to over-try into that moment. But maybe now I should reconsider.
And then obviously defensively, they got going a little bit in the fourth quarter. What changed there? Was it a matter of them just hitting some
I
stuff
thought the
that was
big
open?
play by Swift, was an excellent run. Obviously, a big long play, that explosive play that goes for a score. Those are the things that you have to, fight your way through and come back for it. A lot of respect for their receivers, and certainly, Keenan and DJ, coached against a lot, and I know how talented they are. So those are real weapons that they have, and that's a good team. So, we had to fight our way through it, and I was pleased to see what happened on third down.
Coach, do you recall who you first saw or grabbed after you saw it was a catch?
No, I felt, rest in peace, a little like Jim Valvano, just running around, not sure what to do and where to go. So I don't know who. A lot of the big guys beat the hell out of me, so it's a wonder why they play in the NFL and I never did. Yelling at me and hugging, and I feel like I'm 6 inches off the ground with a big hug. So it was honestly, it was just a wild moment.
Through 8 weeks, what have you learned about Jayden?
It's a long answer, but I would say there's a lot of resilience in this guy that has always been in there, and it's I've always known he was a real competitor at his core, and I don't know if that was revealed any differently. It was his first injury that we had to go through together this week to find out what would be possible and what wouldn't be, because he also has unique skills and gifts that he'd have to be able to get outside the pocket and run some when he can. And I wanted to see him demonstrate that. And so earlier in the week to allow him to play, because if he wasn't able to do that, then he wouldn't have been able to play. We would not have put him into that spot.
What does it do for the locker room when they see their quarterback, a rookie quarterback, gutted out like that?
I think he's already earned lots of love and respect and trust. They see how much he puts it in. So every week there's guys that we don't talk about on the stat sheet that are playing through things and that, and he was another example of that. But, I don't think any of us will ever forget, the finish of tonight. It was really cool. Dave?
John Thompson used to always say he loved wins when his team played bad, because then he could yell at them the whole week. And
Yes.
they'd have to take it. I just wonder what the teaching points going forward are this week as you see them before you. I know you haven't looked at the film yet.
Yeah, I thought, number one, just the fouls, to make sure we have the poise to execute into those spots. I think a screen that, man down the field on a touchdown, like those are ones that are completely correctable. I get it, Dave. If there's a foul and you're fighting for it, it might be a holding, but those are ones that we can control. And so that's the lessons I want us to make sure we are able to control that. So that part I think we can do, our best to fix.
On the throw, the fact that Allegretti's still digging back to get a block to give Jayden some time. I mean, I know it's the scramble and everybody's trying, but is there something to be said for guys that have played 60 minutes still throwing their bodies around out there to give him a chance to get the ball downfield?
Yeah, I think those are the guys that don't show up on the stat sheet but know that they are in for the fight, and part of why Allegretti was a captain tonight, because he's demonstrated that to the team about his willingness to be a warrior, play through an ankle that was bad and tough. And so for him, I think that just kind of demonstrates who he is. And that's an identity, I think, that you have to build because you show it over and over and over again. And so we're still in the early days of our identity, but I do love the toughness that comes with that. All right. Thanks, guys.
I would say, can we just real quick, Dan? In the chaos of the end, we almost forget that Jayden, we didn't know he was going to play when we walked in the stadium today. What was it, the decision-making process to actually get him on the field? And then when did you know for sure he was going?
Well, I think I said early in the week it was a crawl, walk, run. Wednesday, it's not that uncommon for a guy who has an injury on Sunday to hold Wednesday, more treatment. Can they do a walk through Thursday? We pushed him on Friday in terms of the different throws, the way to go. And then how do you respond on Saturday, okay? And how do you respond on Sunday from that? And so once all the markers were hit, then we felt comfortable with him playing. But it was due to all the work that was put in Friday to say, okay, I didn't tell him that until Saturday. We'll give you the ball after he went through that, and then warmed up today to make sure there wasn't any setbacks. Because if there had been, then Marcus was prepared to take the lead and take the ball. So we just wanted to take it all the way through the process. I think when you have a big decision, you take all the time that you need to make it. All right, thanks, guys.
That was your head coach, Dan Quinn. Your final score, 18-15 with your Commanders winning. Now, we still have to hear from Jayden Daniels at the presser, so we're going to stay right here because Jayden Daniels is walking up to the mic. This is your quarterback, Jayden Daniels.
What's new? Take me through the final play and just what you saw.
None really. No. Just throw the ball up, give my guys a shot. I didn't see anything.
You see the end of the play?
No, not really. I just heard people screaming and our sideline rushing the field. So that's how I knew.
Jayden, you've been very chill and relaxed since you've been around us for all these months. You had to be. You must have been going crazy.
Oh, I mean, I was juiced up for sure. I'm excited because, I mean, that's kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like, not too many people get to experience stuff like that. That was my first time. So, obviously, I was juiced up the whole stadium, team, sideline, everybody.
In terms of the play, is it just as simple as, hey, everybody go run that way and I'll throw it as far as I can, or is there anything else to this one specifically?
I mean, it's specifics that and details that we try to coach up, but at the end of the day, it's like everybody runs to a spot, buy some time, and let it fly.
You're feeling it towards the end. We saw. What was it like playing through that injury and being able to make it to the finish line?
It's tough, obviously. Just the area and stuff when you got to throw the ball, got to rotate, stuff like that. You can still feel it, but at the end of the day, man, I started the game, and, I wanted to finish it. So there was nothing else that was going to take me out that game.
Coach said the Friday workout was big for him in terms of seeing what he needed to see from you. What was it you did, and what was it you were trying to show them as you were working towards getting back out there?
Just out myself. I could go out there on Sunday and be myself, and I think that's kind of what they were looking for is like, hey, is there any limitation? We don't want to put him out there, and he's not himself.
How much fun was that for you? Just coming off the field, the locker room vibe, all the guys in there. I mean, just
yeah, it was great for the whole city, DMV, not just us, the fan base. Man, without them, they had the place rocking. Defense played a hell of a game. Defense is the reason why we won the game. Just getting the stops and giving us the ball back. We got to clean some stuff up on the offensive side. Sheesh. Yeah, man, we got to clean up some stuff. Penalties, just communication, and we won the game, so it's always better on the win.
How you feel after that?
I'm happy that we won, but at the end of the day, I know there's a lot that we left out there, a lot that we could continue to get better from and grow.
Terry was saying you guys practice that tip drill quite a bit with that diamond formation. What goes into it from your standpoint?
Giving them a shot, don't throw the ball out the end zone. So that's my coaching point. Buy some time, put some air on it, give those guys a shot to make a play, and that's what they did.
At what point during this week, as you were trying to recover from the rib injury, did you feel good enough to really go out there?
Yeah, that Friday thing was huge. Felt like myself, and then after that, progressively see how I felt Saturday and how I woke up this morning. And I felt good.
As you're buying time running around, are you just looking for space, or what's kind of going through your head as you're running in circles?
Nah, let the guys get down there and get in kind of like that formation and put some air on the ball and let them go make a play.
Going with that play, when you're doing that, when do you know now's the time? Was it just getting them in the right spot? How do you know it's the time?
I don't think you can tell. It's like a feel thing, so I couldn't answer that question. When do I know it's like a feel thing? Kind kind of everybody's over there huddled up waiting for the ball. It's kind of like a rebound after, somebody shoots a long three or something like that.
What's going through your mind as you're lining up? Like, what are you trying to tell yourself and just to get ready for that play?
Buy some time and don't throw the ball out of bounds.
How important was that play before to Terry to kind of put you guys into range? And did you realize that you had enough time, I guess, going into that drive right away to run that many plays?
I mean, we had a timeout left. It's like 30-something seconds. Hopefully we could have got a chunk, called a timeout. But, I mean, that play before, the Hail Mary was huge to get us a little closer, to get the guys a chance to go make a play.
Jayden, when you're trying to get air under the ball, because there's only one pass that's like that that you can throw. So what are the mechanics of getting enough air under the ball but not throwing the ball out of bounds? Because you do have to heave it, but it has to be in bounds.
I don't know. I just think just try to give your guys the opportunity. You kind of feel when you got enough of it, when you mustered it. And I felt like I got enough of it to give my guys a shot to go out there and make a play.
Did anything feel odd today in terms of the ball movement that was as a result of your injury last week? I mean, or did you feel fine out there?
I felt fine, man. As soon as I stepped on that field, I wasn't even worried about it. Obviously, you get some hits and you kind of feel it, but, man, it was nothing to take me out that game.
Just going back to that play, just the blocking up front. I think Eckler was on a linebacker at one point. Allegretti.
They did a good job of blocking, kind of extending and running around to give me enough time to throw the ball. So,
Have you ever, in Little League, high school, college, converted to Hail Mary?
High school, I threw one at the end of halftime, but it wasn't to this magnitude.
Was there any talk about going for it on that 4th and 1 from your own 12?
Nah, it wasn't. I was on the field, so I don't know what DQ and Cliff were talking about, but obviously they made a decision to punt the ball and let our defense play.
It's an aggressive move if you think, hey, maybe we can do it.
I'm always going for it. I'm always for going for it, but obviously you got to play smart. You don't want to give them a short field. Let them have to draw the length of the field. Appreciate it.